Well, wouldn't you know it? For like the second race weekend in a row, Mother Nature has striked again. And I say like second race weekend in a row because there was an off weekend in between. But you know what I mean. Like every time we have a NASCAR race, it feels like rain is always a factor. It doesn't matter if it's like a 1% or a 99% chance of rain. Like rain is always a factor. But we said it before and I'll say it again. Mother Nature is a big fan of these NASCAR events. But we are not a fan of Mother Nature being at the races. So anyways, the weekend the weekend started with pretty much some controversy when we saw like a few snapshots, not really snapshots, but a few pictures of the track. I don't know if it was like midweek or leading up to the race. I don't know if it was like the week before, but it was definitely before the Martinsville race. I don't know exactly when was that, but there were some pictures that sparked controversy of the grass being removed. The grass that is like right on the curb at Martinsville. You know, the little strips of grass, the little patches of grass they have there in the turns. They removed that, and that actually sparked some discussion among NASCAR fans as always, because NASCAR fans just can't seem to agree on anything, it seems like. And I'll say what every like NASCAR fan with common sense has for like the past whatever many time has passed since this argument has started. It's just a patch of grass. We are really arguing over a patch of grass when we could be arguing over other stuff in the NASCAR community right now. Come on, guys. There are so many things wrong with NASCAR right now, and you guys choose to argue over a single patch of grass. Like, NASCAR fans are amazing. NASCAR fans are amazing. Also, I also mentioned the fact that the race was rained out, because it was. Both the Xfinity race and the Cup race were postponed to Sunday. And this, of course, sparks some discussion because during the off weekend, I don't know exactly if it was during the off weekend, but I know there were some news circulating about NASCAR like exploring some avenues for rain tires to be used at short tracks. And to that I say, at least at a short track like Martinsville, because in Martinsville you use brakes like the brake pads are huge. You use pretty much road course brakes, pretty much, because you have to use the brakes a lot at Martinsville. But even then, even at a track that requires like that you use like a short flat track like Martinsville, I don't think rain tires are a good idea. Rain tires have worked at road courses, even though they have been pretty sloppy. Just look at the 2020 Charlotte Roval. It has led to a pretty sloppy racing product. Now, of course, if there is an avenue where rain tires actually work at short tracks, I would love to have that. Like, I would gladly take that, because it basically means that we won't have to worry about rainouts pretty much anymore. But there's a reason why they haven't been implemented, and it's because some short tracks like Bristol, you go at them at pretty high speeds. Like, Bristol is the world's fastest half mile. So how will rain tires work at Bristol? Even with rain tires, it's gonna be literal chaos. If you think like tracks like super speedway tracks like Talladega are a crapshoot, a freaking lottery, then think about how a race at a rainy Bristol with rain tires will look like. I want rain tires. I just don't think it's feasible at the current moment. With the current technology we have, I don't think it's feasible, and I don't think it will ever be for the time being. So that ship is dead. That argument is dead. No sense in talking about it anymore. They actually explored that, now that I think about it, with Terry Labonte in the 90s. That he actually tested at Martinsville in the rain. And from what I can tell, the results were pretty sloppy, and NASCAR just dropped the case for rain tires at short tracks thing, and for good reason too. So, anyways, the big story of the Xfinity race was Josh Berry winning the race. Josh Berry, like a local dirt racer that that he had been driving for Junior Motorsports, for JR Motorsports. I like to call it Junior Motorsports, JR Junior. I think it's the same thing. You know which team it is. The Xfinity team that Dale Jr. and his sister owns. He had been driving for Dale Jr.'s late model team, and he had been making like a few Xfinity starts here and there. Now, this is actually his first big gig. He's actually running. I believe he's running like 12 races. I believe 12, 13. I know he's driving like for the first half of most of the races in the first half of Xfinity, at least until Sam Mayer takes over for the second half, because Sam Mayer is not turning 18 until June, I believe, so he cannot take over the 8 car for until he turns 18. So Josh Berry is driving that car for the first half of the season for the time being, and like I'm just happy for him, because the guy is, from what I can tell, the guy is definitely talented. He deserved like a chance in Dale Jr. Like Junior had been like he's been under the Junior Motorsports umbrella for quite a while on late models. People wonder what he would do on an Xfinity car, more specifically on a short tracks, because him being a late model racer, short tracks are just his wheelhouse. Martinsville Speedway is just riding his wheelhouse, and he just ended up dominating the race, or at least the final stages of the race. He ended up battling against the likes of Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier was also there, and he ended up just straight up beating all of them and winning the race. That was amazing. And of course, now the conversation shifts to, if Dale Jr. is not going to give him a full-time ride, then who will? Because this guy is definitely shown that not only is he talented, but he is the real deal. And with a guy that can actually, and with a guy like Josh Berry, who is going, if it isn't Dale Jr., who is going to sign him to a full-time ride? Because this guy is looking so far, like, I know this is like a very small sample size because this is just a part-time stint, but with him running half the season and him already, like, it's just been like, how many races it's been? 7 races into the season, and he's driven in 6 of them, because Miguel Paludo ran the Daytona road course. In just his 6th start in 2021, he is already looking like a stud, and he's already making a case to be like the breakout driver of the season, like a driver that nobody saw coming in this season. So yeah, I'm so very happy I'm very happy for him. He is truly deserving of this opportunity. Another win for like the small guys, the dirt track like local short track racing guys that just were born and raised on dirt, like, and grassroots feel and stuff like that. That guys that have big dreams of making it to the top, and all they need is just one chance, one opportunity. Josh Berry is the embodiment of that, and he is just using that opportunity to the fullest. Now, as for the Cup race, once again, there wasn't much that of note that I took in the Cup race. It was pretty much like a pretty standard race, like the usual front runners, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, William Byron, the Penske guys, Martin Truex Jr., of course, who actually eventually ended up winning the race. and he becomes the first repeat winner of 2021. And of course, it took us 8 races to have our first repeat winner of the season. But then again, before you guys say that it's the first time, in this elimination style playoffs, this actually happened before. With 2014, actually, the first year of this elimination style playoff format, it happened with Kevin Harvick. Winning at Darlington in 2014, he became the first repeat winner that season. Martin Truex Jr. He also does that. He also does that this year. Both 2014 and 2021 had seven different winners before the first repeat winner in race number 8 of the season. Now, I'm not saying that 2021 is going to be a repeat of 2014, but I'm just saying Kevin Harvick actually won the title that season in 2014. So maybe Martin Truex Jr. is actually looking like a title threat right now. And I'm not lying. Between all Hamlin and his consistency, he hasn't finished outside the top 11. He hasn't finished outside the top 11 in the first 8 races of the season. He has 7 top 5s already, which is pretty crazy that he hasn't won a race. Truex actually made the winning pass with like 30 to go on his teammate, by the way. There's also Larson. That even though his results don't show it, he has actually been fast, almost as fast, if not faster than Hamlin. It's just that the results don't show it. He has been pretty inconsistent. Unlike Hamlin, he's won a race, but he's also been pretty inconsistent. There's also all that stuff. There's also Harvick, who is also like Hamlin. He has been consistent a bit. The results are not there pretty much, but he's also been consistent. He hasn't won a race either. Chase Elliott hasn't won a race either. As a matter of fact, Harvick, Hamlin, and Chase Elliott, 8 races into the season, like the 3 winningest drivers last season, they are still winless. And we have 7 different winners already, and Harvick, Hamlin, and Elliott are not one of them. Like, what in the world is this? Like, what timeline are we on? If you told me in 2020, like at the end of that season, that Hamlin, Harvick, and Elliott will be winless 8 races into the 2021 season, and that we will have 7 different winners, and those 3 aren't any of the 7 guys, like, that's just crazy. Like, when NASCAR is marketing like their best season ever stuff, this best season ever stuff of NASCAR, that promo that Fox did with NASCAR on their best season ever, it's looking pretty legit right now because we're seeing a lot of diversity in the winners. Hell, the season started with 2 first-time winners, including Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500. The moment Michael McDowell won the Daytona 500, I knew that this season was gonna be pretty chaotic. Now, of course, Truex winning 2 races, he becomes the first repeat winner. Truex is not a chaotic winner by any means. He's a guy that usually dominates. But the fact that it took us 8 races before a repeat winner finally emerged, it's pretty much chaos all around, pretty much. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to sound like a broken record. I'm gonna end this video now. There's not much to talk about it. All I'm gonna say is MTJ looking like a stud right now. And maybe I was wrong about him. Maybe I was underrating him quite a bit. Maybe after the 2020 season, I said that Truex would not be like a championship caliber driver because most of that stemmed from the fact that I didn't think that this guy, James Small, his crew chief, I didn't think he was gonna be what Cole Pearn was. That's looking pretty. That argument's looking pretty bad right now. James Small is looking pretty legit as a crew chief, and Truex doesn't look like he's missed a bit. So, yeah, maybe I made a mistake underrating Truex there in my top 10 drivers rankings. I had him 7th, by the way, in those rankings, but he's looking like a top 5 driver clearly right now. Of course, we're just 8 races into the season, so we gotta wait. We gotta see if Truex can keep this up. But right now, he's looking like one of the early title favorites. Not gonna lie.